In 2014, after India reached Mars on its first attempt, a New York Times cartoon showed an Indian farmer with a cow knocking on the door of an elite space club. A mockery at a third world country aiming for the stars, reeking of West's elitism over tech supremacy. 12 years later, that same India is being invited by NASA to help build humanity's first permanent outpost on the moon, a base on the Earth's satellite, the first such attempt after the International Space Station. This is not another satellite launch. It is about living in another world. This is what one would think of as science fiction stuff even today. So, what exactly is NASA offering India? What does this mean for India's space ambitions? And can India actually deliver on a promise this big? Let's go back 12 years when India successfully placed a spacecraft in orbit around Mars. First attempt, lowest cost ever for an interplanetary mission. And what did NYT do? It published a cartoon mocking India. It showed a farmer with a cow knocking on the door marked Elite Space Club. The message was insulting. It implied India, a poor rural nation, had no business doing serious space science. That cartoon caused outrage and it aged badly. Because a decade later, that same backward space agency is now being asked to help build humanity's first permanent home on another world. NASA has formally invited ISRO to join its Artemis program, be a part of the next big phase, building a permanent lunar base. This is not a symbolic gesture, it's a real seat at the table. The Artemis program already involves America, Europe, Japan, and Canada working together on the Lunar Gateway, a space station that will orbit the moon. Until now, India had no confirmed module in that gateway. This invitation changes that. It puts India in the same room as the world's most established space powers, discussing how humans will actually live and work on the moon. NASA unveiled a roadmap this year for a permanent lunar outpost. The objective is sustained human presence near the moon's south polar region. Now, the base would support scientific research, technology testing, and preparations for eventual missions to Mars. NASA's plan begins with robots. Phase 1 focuses on robotic and uncrewed missions to scout sites, test equipment, and prepare the surface before astronauts begin their longer stays. NASA says robotics will be central to building power systems, communications networks, and habitats. It has talked about dozens of commercial lunar landings to rapidly build experience on the surface. In simple words, this is humanity attempting something it has never done before. And this is where India becomes especially relevant. The lunar south polar region is prized because permanently shadowed craters may contain water ice. Water means drinking water. It's H2O, hydrogen, oxygen. Oxygen supports astronauts. Hydrogen and oxygen can potentially become rocket propellant. That is why lunar ice could change the economics of deep space exploration. India knows this region better than most. Chandrayaan 3 made India the fourth country to achieve a lunar soft landing and the first to successfully land in the moon's south polar region. That was August 2023. Long before that, Chandrayaan 1 carried NASA instruments that helped identify evidence of lunar water and ice. The NASA-ISRO relationship on the moon actually did not begin yesterday. India signed the Artemis Accords way back in 2023, agreeing to America's rules for peaceful, transparent space exploration. Then came Chandrayaan 3, landing India on the moon's south pole, a region no other country had reached. Then Indian astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla trained with the NASA and flew to the space station through the Axiom Mission 4 program. So step by step, India built trust and capability by delivering on time and on a fraction of the usual budget. Here's the part often missed. NASA needs partners. Building a permanent moon base isn't something any single country can fund or engineer alone. India brings something rare: low-cost, high-reliability engineering. Every ISRO mission from Mangalyaan to Chandrayaan has stretched a modest budget further than almost anyone else in the world. India also brings political weight in an era where China is racing towards its own crewed lunar program by 2030, having India firmly inside the American-led Artemis camp is a strategic win for Washington too. For India, this invitation accelerates everything. ISRO already has ambitious plans: a Mangalyaan crewed mission, an Indian astronaut on the moon, and its own space station by 2035. Working alongside NASA on an actual lunar outpost gives Indian engineers direct exposure to deep space habitat technology, life support systems, and long-duration lunar operations. Now, that kind of experience usually takes decades to build alone. This partnership could compress that timeline significantly. It also cements India's position not as a rising space power anymore, but as an arrived one. The story is bigger than one NASA invitation. India's space program was originally built for weather forecasts, communications, and development. Then it became an exploration program. Now it is becoming an instrument of strategic influence. India has landed near the lunar south pole. It has sent an astronaut to the ISS. It is jointly building spacecraft with NASA. And it now has an invitation to participate in infrastructure meant to remain on the moon. The old question was whether India belonged in the global space club. That question has been answered. The new question is what India will build once it gets there. Because the country once caricatured as standing outside the door may now help construct humanity's next door to the moon. You're watching Times Access. I'm Aditi Prasad. Click on the bell icon below to like and subscribe to this channel and never miss a Times Access update.
They had a nuclear weapon.
The old rules are breaking. Alliances are shifting.
Apologize again to the victims of the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein.
Wars are redrawing maps. Oil routes can shake economies overnight. One election in America can impact markets in Mumbai.
No tax on tips.
One move by China can alter the balance in Asia. One conflict in West Asia can hit every Indian household. This is no longer a distant story. This is our story. Your story. Because for the first time in decades, India is not watching from the sidelines. India is rising. India is negotiating. India is balancing rivals. India is building military strength. India is shaping trade routes. India is becoming central to the new global order. And yet, most global news is still told through someone else's lens. Washington's lens, Beijing's lens, London's lens. But where is India's lens? Where is the platform that explains the world from our perspective? Welcome to India's Axis, a new destination for geopolitics, strategy and power seen through India's eyes. From Neighborhood Watch to the biggest global stories that matter to you. Why tensions in the Taiwan Strait matter to India. How one move by China can affect India's security. What turmoil in Pakistan means for regional stability. How Bangladesh Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bhutan shape India's neighborhood. Why oil choke points can hit your wallet. How wars abroad can reshape India's security. This is not noise. This is not shouting. This is not recycled headlines. This is sharp, intelligent storytelling. Daily explainers. War room analysis. Strategic conversations. Because news is everywhere, but perspective is rare, and in the age of confusion, clarity is power. Axis is for the audience that wants more than headlines. The axis of global power is shifting. India is at the center of that shift. It's time the world was explained accordingly, to understand the world through India's strategic lens. Subscribe now.